Welcome to episode 80 of the Rash Challenges podcast. I'm Dave Lewis. My friend over there is Eric Neal. We're going to talk some football, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm kind of feeling it today. There's so much stuff that happened over the weekend. I can't wait to get done talking about Newcastle and start talking about the good stuff.
Yeah, I know, man. Let's get the crap over with. I mean, you're a Newcastle part, but the good stuff is Liverpool. This is pathetic. I know. I'm a 52-year-old man. I know you're shocked by how young I look, but I ordered the Liverpool shirt, and it's coming on Wednesday, and I'm like a kid at Christmas. I can't wait. I've checked my phone 3 times to see when the UPS guy is coming. When is it going to get delivered? I want to put that thing on with the little teal trim. It's going to be beautiful. I just can't wait.
You're stalking the UPS tracking like the Newcastle fans stalked the airport for flights coming in from Saudi Arabia.
I can't wait, man. I mean, it's on its way. It's in transit. I'm so excited, man. The problem is, and it's a good thing, I didn't buy the away kit. That thing is horrendous. It's like a teal camouflage wave looking thing.
So I actually made a note about this.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Yeah. So I was seeing the all teal number, oof. So it's a tough look, man. I heard it's inspired by the Shankly Gate.
Oh, really?
Is what that design's all about. I need therapy after looking at that thing, man. The regular red that you're getting with the teal, it's all right,
Yeah, you can live with that.
I don't know about the all teal, brother. That was a tough look, but have you noticed all of the clubs are going back to the 80s with these wild-ass kits?
Yeah.
I expect to see the next one inspired by Miami Vice. They'll have Crockett and Tubbs like standing up there modeling it.
With no socks and a nice tan. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I'm not buying that. I'm getting the traditional red one with the little teal. I'm so excited about it. Other news, Thiago rumors still persist.
Yeah.
Either sign the guy or don't. Let's figure this thing out. Either let's get him or not. Enough of this. Remember last week I told you about the backup for Robertson Tsimikas?
Yeah.
We signed him from Olympiacos. Klopp, I read tons of articles, so high on him. I mean, what else is he going to say, right? Like, oh, he sucks. But he's really high on him. He's excited about Robertson having a little competition and a little backup. So, all right, it's a good buy. 12 million. I think it's 12 million quid. Still don't understand. Let's say they sign a couple more of these lesser guys. You're going to add up to 50 million, and it's going to be Timo Werner. And I'm going to tell you, why didn't you just go get Timo Werner? So I'm still pissed off and chuffed about that thing. So anyway, that's all really I got for Liverpool. There's no other real rumors for any transfers right now other than Thiago and the Sancho thing. We're not doing that. That's stupid. So there's nothing.
No, did you happen to know this, though, that they announced the Premier League Player of the Season?
I saw it was De Bruyne. I
saw
that.
I was going to say, it wasn't Try Hard Henderson. It was the actual proper winner.
I have no problem with that. I mean, you know what? They wanted to spread the wealth. If you gave it to De Bruyne, the writers and the players voted him in, we needed a Liverpool player.
You know what? You're a writer. So this is all of a sudden starting to make a lot of sense to me. You're that sensitive, caring, artistic kind of person. Those are the type of people that would pick Henderson. People that actually know football, they would pick a real player like Kevin De Bruyne. So you know what? I didn't understand it until then, but it makes perfect sense already.
Yeah, stats. The stats are overrated. So much De Bruyne had good stats. And Henderson's lack of stats got him this award.
Yeah, that's right.
Effort, man. I'm not going to argue that one. But anyway, so by the way, I did not sign the Newcastle petition. I refused. I refused.
How dare you? All right. Anyway, I think this is a good time to take a moment to introduce our man on the streets of Newcastle, Andrew Wells.
Hello, this is Andrew Wells, live from Newcastle, and here's the report for this week. And, well, obviously, as I've mentioned the last 2 weeks, I'm going to keep talking about this Saudi takeover, which has failed. But, I mean, finally, the Premier League broke their silence this week and actually sent a letter to the key politician over here. But basically, they were just regurgitating the same stuff that's always been said, but worded extremely carefully. So, I mean, it did kind of spark a divide, really, between fans, because people are saying, well, that's it, it's the piracy again, and it's because there's no clear evidence that it's not going to be run by a country. It's going to be run by Saudi, and not the Public Investment Fund, which is what they're against. But then you've got people on the other hand who are basically turning around and saying, this is just fucking hypocrisy yet again, because when you look at like Manchester City with Sheikh Mansour, fair enough, he's got his own company, but he's also turns out to be the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates. So the whole favoritism to the top six is kind of swaying back into this, which we all knew anyway. But obviously, stuff goes on. But a lot of fans over here think there is something definitely going on in the background, because you look on Twitter with Jamie Rubin's brother, sorry. He is liking a barrage of tweets saying that they're going to come back in. And yet, Stavely's husband is also doing the same thing. But yet, PIF are staying extremely silent on the matter, which does suggest they're looking at a potential way of getting through the lawsuit. But there's also speculation that they might alter the stakes slightly, because I think the main issue was because of how 80% of PIF being in charge. But if you drop that down to say 70, I don't think it takes that. I think they go through different series of tests, because it's not a sole ownership, a majority. So obviously when that moves on, that happens. But other than that, basically we've had another big come in this time from the BN group, which is kind of a coincidence when you think about it. But they're based in Paris, but again heavily backed from Singapore. Although when fans have looked at it, things just don't seem to add up on this, because why would, like, Michael Chopra, who I don't know whether he's a businessman or not, he's been tweeting all about these stuff. So you're like, what does he know? And then they've also came out and name dropped Alan Shearer and everything. It's just like you're playing this out far too publicly for a takeover to even happen. It's like, it reminds you of the BZG group from a couple of years from the last takeovers. So obviously we'll see what happens, but they have bidded 280 million, and they've openly admitted that and put a 29-page document to Ashley. But I don't personally, in my view, I honestly can't see it going through, because I think Ashley's 100% certain on getting PIF back involved, even getting a lawsuit for the Premier League himself. But obviously I'll talk more about this as more details come to it. So that's the filler for next week. But and then obviously I'm going to end again with some transfer news. Obviously Jeff Hendrick is set to sign this week now. Apparently he's already had his medical, according to some reports, and there's talk about a mystery left back, but nobody knows who it is. I mean, speculation flying around. It's either going to be Jetro coming back in on loan, or random, like somebody else. I can't remember who it is. And also, Goulam's been linked to who used to play at Napoli. In my eyes, I think it is going to be Goulam, because he's actually a really cheap option. So I think that's what Ashley's going to look for this year, since he's still in charge. And the final one that caught my eye was a potential swap deal with Bournemouth. So we're going to offer Gale and Ritchie in exchange for Callum Wilson, which a lot of people are kind of liking the idea, but some are sceptical about taking Ritchie out. But obviously that's all the links I'll report for this week, and then I'll see you all next week when I can talk more about this BN group when more news leaks out.
All right, as always, I want to thank Andrew for that report. It really helps to get an idea of what's happening in the Toon. Although lately, I'm not really trying to feel what's going on in the Toon, because it's heartache and pain, man. The takeover saga with the Saudis won't end. Like Wellesley was saying, it's just ongoing. It seems like every day some new thing comes out, and then the Premier League finally makes a statement, but in that statement, they don't really say anything.
They don't want to incriminate themselves, like we said. They don't want.
Exactly right. He brought up a good point that they may try and lower the amount of money that the Saudis are putting in, because as your share of the club goes down, the rules kind of shift for like what they can do to really block you. So if they get it to, a small enough number, they can say, oh, well, they only owe 60% of the club, but they're still putting 200 million into the team. So I think maybe that's a way that it might go. I don't know if you've seen the rumors for the new takeover bid that's kicked off. Have you heard this?
Who's this?
The BN Group.
What?
Now, like what we say, it kind of a little bit of a funny coincidence.
Were they the problem?
No, but that's BEIN.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the B.N. group out of, I think, Malaysia. They've been come out. They said they have official bid in. They've put paperwork in that they've offered Alan Shearer a position at the club, any position he wants. They said they want to go after Ronaldo as their first signing. This has got bullshit written all over it.
Alan Shearer is going to be in the fetal position. That's the only position, crying when this is happening. This is not going to happen.
No, after Wellesley's report, he was sending me messages while I was getting ready for the show. And Shearer apparently has come out and said, I got nothing to do with this. I don't know what they're talking about. So I think it was probably a publicity stunt for them.
Yeah.
But I just do not have the emotional fortitude to go through any other nonsense like this.
I don't want to talk about your takeover bids every week from some Malaysians. Listen, I really don't.
I would like to say, though, that I do have to just talk a little bit about Newcastle because our friend Thomas from the Bryant and Me podcast requested that I stick to Newcastle talk. Okay? He doesn't like that I mention Grasterisk FC more than my own team.
Yeah, your vitriol is sometimes more than your love for Newcastle.
He also says that I do terrible impersonations of him on the show, which I didn't remember doing a terrible impersonation of him. Okay. But my new one for today is it probably sounded something, hey, stop talking about Liverpool. We got lots of trophies and don't want any competition. Stay in your lane, Newcastle. So I'm not sure if that was accurate either. But anyway, that's for you, Thomas. A little special impersonation.
That's lovely. Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like that, but, what are you going to do? So, anyway, like Wellesley said, transfers, looks like we got Hendrick sewn up, and some mystery left back. Like Wellesley also said, I hope it's Jetro Willems coming back, but nobody knows. So, hey, man, thankfully, that's all we got to talk about with Newcastle because it's too depressing for words. I can't.
Yeah, it is too depressing. Let's talk about some real teams, some real competition here. Let's go to the Champions League.
Oh,
this has been insane.
Let me start out with this, okay?
Go ahead.
What crazy ass quarterfinals! Never seen anything like it. Was the most entertaining 4 straight days of football that I can remember in a long time, probably since the World Cup. On Wednesday, we saw PSG score 2 late goals to knock out Atalanta and exercise their Champions League demons. You gotta feel bad for Atalanta.
Real quick, whenever I see Atalanta, I'm always like, oh my God, it's an MLS team they're playing. Atlanta. I'm like, oh no, there's an extra A in there. It's not an MLS team.
Right.
It's not some like friendly or something. Like
World Cup, it's amazing, unbelievable.
But I was pulling for Atalanta. I was pulling for them. They were like the underdogs.
They were almost there, man. They had done it. They were like right up to the end.
PSG did not deserve that. Those 2 late goals.
Oh no! But you know what though? When you have that level of quality, when they brought Mbappe on, you got the feeling it was only a matter of time that he was not going to have this happen to him again. And if it did, you could see him on the next flight out of there. He's like, "Look, I'm not playing with you people."
Look, Atalanta plays one way, and they press. It's a game that they got tired. They got tired at the end. They couldn't hold on.
No, I feel you. The fairy tale's over, but, PSG, they're loaded, and they should go through. With Mbappe, he's going to be fit for the start the match. Di Maria's back from a suspension. Navas is out, their keeper.
Wait. You don't give Leipzig a shot? You don't give Leipzig a shot in the semis?
The only person that they're going to be missing in this is Keylor Navas. I don't see it being a big enough difference. Yeah. I predict with all their firepower back, I got 3-2 thriller with PSG going through on the final.
Here's the thing about the Leipzig game. We wanted to bring this up because our American hero, Tyler Adams, scores the winning goal. I mean, the most important goal in U.S. history not for international play, but for club play. Would you say it's the most important goal? Dempsey scored a huge one.
You have to, really. The match winner. over the world's most stubborn side, Atleti, with the world's best goalkeeper, Oblak.
I know.
I mean, to make that happen, I don't.
What about
care.
Dempsey's goal in the Europa League when he wins it against Juventus? I thought he won. Did he win the game, or his goal was key? It was like a huge goal.
Yeah, but you're talking Europa League versus Champions League.
I guess you're right.
It's two different worlds.
Of course, no, you're right.
Yeah, so to me,
do you take anything away from Adam's goal that it was deflected? Are you bothered by that?
Look, I think Oblak was probably going to save it.
Yeah,
but it was on target,
and it was crushed, and it was hit hard.
Settle it and release the cannon on target. Good things are going to happen. It could have deflected back out, and someone could have scored. Look, he got lucky, but it doesn't matter. He put himself in the spot to get lucky and took that shot on. I mean, a lot of players, especially for him, who doesn't really play attacking that much.
No, he doesn't score much.
That's a big moment that you squander there, and so for him to make it happen, I don't know. I was really.
Isn't he our number 6 for the U.S. national team?
Well, okay, supposed to be, but he's also our hybrid right back.
Hybrid right
that roams the field wherever he wants to go and whatever other.
That was the most damning thing for Berhalter when he put Tyler Adams in that position, that hybrid back. What are you doing? I can't stand it.
Here's my thought, because we've talked about this ad nauseum, but someone said one time, a Berhalter defender, and it could have been a burner account for Berhalter that was just trying to defend himself.
Or is Jay Berhalter?
But Leipzig had played him in that exact role in the match where he played it right back, but was allowed to go. And everyone's like, oh, well, they do it at Leipzig, and all of a sudden they're geniuses. But when Berhalter does it, he's the dumbest guy in the world. And so you got to say, you know what, he's trying to flex his football intellect and do certain things. The difference is they do it in the right context when it makes sense for the opponent they're playing or whatever strategy they're trying to go with for the match. He does things just to show he's the smartest guy in the room. And it doesn't matter if they have the players to do it or it makes sense for that game. I just want to do something innovative and different so it shows that I'm some intellectual.
I feel like Berhalter's like, hey, I want to be like Pep. Here's the problem. I'm not Pep. Yeah, I don't have the pedigree of Pep. I don't have the players of Pep. But other than that, I want to have the same philosophy as Pep of like, hey, I'm going to do something really wacky and innovative and hope it works out. Pep can get away with that. Berhalter cannot.
I want to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but none of it's happening.
Real quick on the Leipzig Atletico Madrid game, Diego Simeone, I think, is done. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He's past it. This defensive, the way he plays is so unattractive. He's like Jose Mourinho. I can't stand watching how he plays.
You've got a serious grudge against him for knocking you guys out.
That's not it, man. He's negative football, defensive football. He's a wacko on the sidelines. I don't know why people
never ever have the budget to compete like going toe to toe with these other teams. He has to do what he does to be able to have a chance to get as far as he does in the Champions League.
On this one, he should have played João Felix, started him. He's got Diego Costa, and he had his lineup wrong. I just think he had his lineup wrong. And I'm done with him.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I don't think that makes him done.
Once again, you bring up something about Liverpool. I wasn't even talking about Liverpool.
No, but I have not had that level of energy from you in like 10 episodes. You start talking about Atleti and you start sweating. You can see it. You're like the rage is building. So do you have a prediction for that match? Coming up, PSG versus Leipzig. What do you got?
I think Leipzig's going to pull it off 2-1. I really do. I really do. Here, I was listening to a show the other day and I was saying, look, I don't give Leipzig. I don't think they're going to do it. If they had Timo Werner or they had some proper striker up top, I'd give them a real shot. But they don't. But I still feel it. I feel it. I'm all about heart and destiny. And, I don't look at things on paper. You don't win games on paper. I think Leipzig is going to do it, and Tyler Adams is going to start and have a huge game. That's what I think.
I hope you're right. I don't want to be right. But, the Baguette Squadron, I mean, really.
Now, the biggest shocker was Lyon beating Man City. Now, talk to me about that. I didn't see the game live. You told me that Sterling had a horrible miss. I didn't see it.
Are you saving the worst for last?
What do you mean?
Okay, the Barca Bayern from Friday.
Let's talk Man City real quick. Tell me about the Sterling one.
So, Lyon, in a surprise to absolutely no one, City bottled, the chance at the semifinal by completely shitting the bed against Lyon. I had to admonish Kylian Mbappe online for stealing my tweet. Okay, about 15 minutes after I tweeted out something about how England was the real Farmers League, right now, tweeted out the same exact thing. All right, so I've been saying that since October.
That's the only thing you have in common with Kylian Mbappe.
The problem is, though, I said it first. So I screenshot my tweet and stuck it in his comments and simply said, stop stealing my tweets. Okay, now get this. He responds with, "Se perde problème." Get lost, you piece of garbage.
You're full of shit.
Actually, he didn't respond because he's killing
You had me for a nanosecond. You really did.
He doesn't associate with people like me. So I wish I had a tweet from Kylian Mbappe calling me a piece of garbage in French. That would be beautiful.
You're so nonchalant about it that I was like kind of believing you at first. But yeah.
Look, I've had Taylor Twom and other people respond to my stupid tweets. Why not Mbappe?
Look,
but really, stop stealing my tweets.
So tell me about the Sterling. How bad was
all
it?
Right, so listen. Back to the match. Lyon went ahead, and City looked like they had no idea how to fix it. Now, people said Pep started tinkering and thought about it too hard instead of just being, we're City, we play 4-3-3, and that's just what it is. And so the players looked like lethargic. They looked kind of lost. They couldn't break them down. And next thing you know, they get scored on. They got picked in the back. And this guy, Cornet, if you're speaking French, just did this great bended shot around the last defender and into the goal. But, I mean, it was a shambles. And this guy was flopping the whole match. I was getting so tired of seeing this guy. Every time he touched the Lyon players, they went down and rolled around and did a Neymar for like 10 minutes. I mean, that part I could do without of the French league. But look, their goal, they were pressuring, they were pushing. It made sense, So we're watching that whole thing. I'm just going, this can't be happening again. Then De Bruyne levels it in the 69th minute. Looks like they righted the ship. It's
he didn't have a good game, by the way. Your player of the year did not have a good game.
They've been pressuring. They looked like the better side. They came out and went back to their 3-3 in the second half. Like, okay, we got this. We got it. We're on our way to the semis. Lyon brings on Moussa Dembele, and the wheels actually come off. All right, so they're playing this high line, trying to catch them in an offside trap. This through ball gets played right to this Lyon player who's like 3 yards offside. I mean, he's so far offside. And he just stands there and dummies it and lets it go through his legs. But because the City players saw him, they all froze because they're like, oh, they played him the ball, but he didn't touch it. And so it goes into the melee who dribbles in and scores. Ederson got a hand on it, but I mean, it was hit hard. It went in. So they kept looking like, where's VAR? Like, what's happening? But there's an argument to be made. In real time, I thought he interfered with the play because even though he dummied it, it went right to him, and he acted like he was going to play it and then dummied it. So you're actually involved.
But he never touched it, right? He never touched
it. He never touched it. But you can call it that he was in the play. He was interfering in the play. They didn't, and so now it's 2-1 back to Lyon. The wheels are coming off again, and you wouldn't even believe it. So then City has a chance coming down to level it late. They get this ball through. Guy dribbles in, crosses this square ball. So all the defenders and the goalie collapsed onto the ball, the guy that passed it. He squares it to Raheem Sterling, who I'm not even exaggerating, 3 to 4 yards out maybe with an absolute open goal, like no defender, no keeper, whatever. Goes to side foot it and puts it straight up over the top of the goal. You've never seen anything like it. Now, they went to later in the after show, watch Carragher and Micah Richards, who are part of the CBS crew, watching it in real time. The high-pitched squeal that Carragher let out in his Liverpool accent, like, almost broke glass. It was like, ah! Like, you would not even believe it. But everyone was sitting there shocked.
Was there a ball? Did the ball hit a little jump on him or something? Or?
No, he just shit the bed, man. I screamed, like, actual in real time. I screamed. I'm like, oh my God, people are going to come, like, trying to see what happened. But you couldn't believe it. It was so obviously going to be a tap in. And then it's 2-2. they've got the momentum back, and you're thinking, okay, they got it. It's going to be like PSG. We're going to exercise the demons. Everything's going to go good. So right off of that, they go into the goal kick, and they go into the attack. They work the ball up. Leon makes a couple passes. Take the softest crap shot. You remember playing FIFA where you'd hit the button?
Yeah.
And it would just pass it to the goalie, and it wouldn't really take a shot? Well, they pass it to Ederson, who fumbles the ball straight out to Dembele, who taps it in 3-1. It's over, man. It's completely over. And it was a shambles. I can't believe it.
All right. Well, then here's a little ask you anything here, a little bonus. Look, you love Pep, and I love Pep. I think he's great. I think he's right behind Klopp. And why did he start such a defensive team? He didn't have Mahrez in there. He didn't have the Silva brothers. He didn't have the right. He had Fernandinho wide right in a 3 center back formation. The guy can't even walk. You have to have some speed with the 3 center backs. You have to have somebody wide because he's going to be chasing people. Come on. What are you doing?
I know, because he's got Kyle Walker pushed up playing like.
And Walker had a bad game. So
look.
I feel like he had other choices, and he should have made them. And he didn't. I think he only substituted like 2 players.
People keep cracking on Pep, right?
You're going to be an apologist.
Only winning the Champions League with Messi. And that great team, everything.
Yeah.
But look at what Barca's been doing since Pep's been gone.
Yeah, but look what. Yeah, but Messi.
Look, it took Messi and all those great players to win it, but he actually won it.
Bayern Munich was pretty talented. This City team's pretty talented. Look, the champions, once you win your league this many times, and he's won it in La Liga, Germany, here, you got to win the Champions League eventually with somebody other than Messi. I'm with these critics. I am.
You can be critical of him and say he made mistakes, but he can't make Raheem Sterling not tap in.
But he can do better signings on the defensive end. He's got to take some kind of accountability for not getting defenders.
I agree with you, though. If they don't take serious, they bought Ake, which I don't think that's the solution to winning the Champions League. It's a step in the right direction. But if he doesn't realize after this has happened again that he has to do what Liverpool did and make sure that the spine of the team is rock solid, every position, like world-class player, then he's not going to get over the hump. And I think it's in his head now, and he just keeps overthinking it. If he goes 4-3-3 and just says, go out and do what you know how to do, they probably win that match. So I don't know. But they even still have a chance to win it. And this calamity of errors, it's like you wouldn't even believe it. Just for it to unravel like it.
But he didn't even make it to the semis, man. I mean, you can't be going out in the round of 8. And he hasn't. Yeah. Anyway, let's get off Pep.
Hey,
last game.
Pep's got a semi.
You got a semi. Bayern Munich, Barca, real quick. I don't want to get into this too much because 8-2. That is ridiculous. Ter Stegen was horrible. Anybody other than Messi was horrible.
No, my notes basically said, on Friday we saw the most entertaining match of the quarters, unless you're a Barca supporter, in which case you're probably trying to sober up enough to get yourself to therapy. It's sad to me when you witness the end of an era, unless I get to witness the end of Liverpool's era, in which case it's going to be awesome. But that aside, Bayern are a good side, but not an 8-2 over Barca side. Lots of people are comparing it to when Germany, who had many of the same players from this Bayern side, demolished Brazil on their home turf in the World Cup.
7-1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I had that same kind of feel to me where you're watching it in real time, just going, I cannot believe that this is happening, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And then they were shell shocked, and then they were like, please just make it stop. And then they were like looking for a hole to crawl in. And Bayern the whole time is just like stomping on the gas, like, woo, let's get another one. Let's get another one. They're really lucky it didn't get to double digits. It could have been 11 or 12 or 13-2. I mean, it was that dominant of a performance by them. Messi had to be sitting there asking himself, what did he do to get God so angry? He's probably like backtracking through his mind. He's like, oh my God, did I go to church? How many Hail Marys did I do? What went wrong? Did I cross a black cat and break a mirror walking under a ladder? Like, how
is he gone? Is Messi gone?
The rumors are he's put in a transfer request.
Think about it. If you're Messi, you have 2 ways of thinking about it. I want to stay with my team. I want to be loyal. I've been loyal this whole time. I'll hang out for another couple of years. through this transition period, or you go the other route of just like, I only got 2, maybe 3 more years. I want another Champions League title. I need to move on. I wouldn't blame him either way. Either way is fine, you know?
Well, I wouldn't blame him if he just retired.
It goes to the Crew. It moves to MLS.
No, like 100% just went back to Argentina and just lived the rest of his life like a normal human being.
That'd be awesome to just drop the mic. Just be like, that's good enough.
He's got more money than he'll ever need. He's already at an age now where, like, a team that is getting him, they want 5 years ago Messi. Because if you're going to, spend the money it will take to pay this guy.
Where's he going to go?
There's nowhere. That's what I mean.
He's got nowhere to go.
No.
That's the weird thing.
City? Do you go to Man City and possibly like have the same thing happen to you that happened at Barca? Like where you
and Ronaldo's going to go to PSG, so he's not going to go to PSG. Messi at PSG makes no sense. No, I can't think of one team he could go to.
No, can you even imagine him on that Bayern team?
So maybe he stays 2 more years at Barca and he gets another 60 goals, 70 goals between 2 years, and then what does that do for him? You're right. I feel like he should just.
He doesn't need the money, and he doesn't need the aggravation.
Yeah. All right. Are you excited about a Leipzig-Lyon final?
I've got Bayern going through 4-1.
I do too, but what if it's Leipzig-Lyon? How awesome would that be?
I would like to watch either one of those Champions Leagues, either PSG versus Bayern or Leipzig-Lyon. I do not want to watch PSG, versus Leon, and I don't want to watch Leipzig versus.
It's just like a regular season match, Bundesliga or Ligue 1,
I don't want to see one team just dominate. Yeah. I want to see a really hard fought, either 2 underdogs going for it to do the unthinkable and pull off a miracle,
like a Porto,
or 2 heavyweights punching it out. I feel like in 2020 you got to expect it's going to be the shittiest option of all of those.
Hey, Eric, I'm really excited about this next segment. Take it away, brother.
All right, I want to welcome a special guest to the podcast here tonight. We've got David Kerr from the Soccer Syndicate. He's at DKERR0118 on Twitter. Thanks for joining us, David. How's it going tonight?
It's going great. Just got through my Monday. Can't complain.
I hear that one. I'm back in the office actually now, so that's been an adjustment. I was working from home since March. Yeah. Back to the real world.
And then we don't have Premier League to watch 8 hours a day, so it's kind of killing us too,
Yeah, none of those 9 a.m. MLS games, 10 a.m. Premier League. It's tough, man.
Are you kidding me? The Crew was 11:30 at night one game. It was ridiculous.
Dude, yep. Watched it all the way until 1 a.m. Best game, too.
Yeah, that actually was. That made it worth staying up. So, hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Soccer Syndicate?
Yeah, so we are a professional scouting agency, and we're designed to help get American soccer players from either small clubs, local clubs to help get them professional routes to help make them jump to the pros. Either we're going from kids in college, help them get to the pros, or maybe there's kids in those MLS clubs who will have their eyes on Europe and help them connect those kids to European clubs that we work with. So we're designed to be the scouting branches of the clubs who may not want to hire their own scouting staff and helping them out. So
nice.
We're all about talent identification, helping just grow American soccer.
Eric, too late for you, brother. You got 2 ACLs.
I know I got a little excited for a minute, but my ship unfortunately has sailed.
Yeah, mine too, man. We're not even doing rec league anymore, man.
Yeah. 3 ACLs later, it's all over.
Yeah, a lot of beers drank here, and it's all gone for me, so I feel that.
Yeah. So you made this list ranking the top 50 American U20 talents. I saw this list on U.S. Soccer Twitter, and it just exploded. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the list and, what gave you the idea to put it together?
Yeah. So originally, earlier in COVID, I kind of wanted to get into some content creation about U.S. soccer, and I noticed that there wasn't that much really quality of rating and really talking about the youth prospects around there. I mean, you had things like Top Door Soccer, and that was really it. So I thought there wasn't anything talking about the specific under 20 age groups and talking about where these kids really rank amongst their peers. And I saw a lot of people on soccer Twitter and on social media just spouting off just absolute bogus nonsense. And I'm just this is so far-fetched. So I thought I should put out something to kind of say hey, this is kind of more accurate to how it is. And then I wrote 5 age group breakdowns, breaking down the 01s to the 05s. And then at the end, I decided to put out a top 50 ranking every single U20 eligible player at the time. And it was written in April. And there are some tweaks that I would make to it, but yeah, it's just kind of giving a sense of if we are in the ideal situation and the players stayed healthy, and assuming the players' mentality was good, where would I expect these players to rank when they're 24, 25, hitting their prime?
Nice. Yeah, it's funny because Dave and I are those people that you're talking about that just throw out the wildly inaccurate assessments of people and 10 players.
Yep.
So yeah, we're definitely those people. It was nice to have all of the detail and the research go into it. I saw in your video that you made, and you can just go to Dave's Twitter page and find the link for that. But you went into really, the system that you used in the thousands of hours. Dave and I were really impressed with the level of detail and the effort that you put into that.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, real quick, man. I mean, I looked at the list, and it was obviously you did your homework. I think you said you did like 4,000 to 5,000 hours of video watching. So you know your stuff. And Eric and I'd be lying if I said I knew everybody on that list. I think I knew 5 or 6 people. Yeah. And I know MLS, and I think Eric and I know a lot about the sport, but it was really cool to see some of the players' names we never heard of.
Yeah.
We know the Gio Reynas and people like that, but to see the other guys, and the crew don't have much, let me tell you. They don't have many prospects, that's for sure.
I think they have some good ones, actually.
You do?
So for you guys, Elton Chifamba, that kid's going to be a dog.
Okay. I think you had that on your list, correct?
Yep,
your top 50?
He was. Yeah, there's 2 other kids who barely missed out, too. Sam Sarver. He's number 9/winger. He's a really talented kid. He's going to go to IU for probably a year. And IU's Indiana, for those listening who don't know. Also, Noah Hall is a really talented right back as well. I'm expecting that kid to sign a pro deal. 2 years younger from that, Ramsey Ray. He's another right back who's really good, too. He's a 2005 age group. But you guys, you're stepping it up. We still need to see the USL team. But
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's getting better, but yeah, so back to the other list. So I'm one of the very few people who are insane enough to want to watch hours and hours and hours of youth prospects. And it's just something that I've always found interesting ever since I was in my playing days, playing with guys like in training and going to camps and seeing guys like Jeremy Avobasi and Andrija Novakovic or Cam Lindley for those who follow USL. And then I've just kind of pursued it ever since. And spent most of the 2010s just watching these kids, tracking them, seeing how their career progressed. And it made it a lot easier just watching how just the structure of player identification and development in the country changed. In 2017, you saw most of those kids who had been top 50. 40 of them would have been college bound. Now alone in a single class, you have out of the top 50 in this class of 2020, only 6 kids are going to college. I expect 3 of them to actually make it the full 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you look at MLS like 10, 15 years ago, they were all 4-year college players. You know what I mean? These American players were all playing college. And by the time you're 22, as you know, you're done. You're going to be an okay MLS player probably, but you're not going to Europe.
The big thing we saw that kept us from Europe was that kids who were 16 to 18 in America were either training with youth teams or thinking, you know what D1 school can I go to? And then in 2017, out of nowhere, it really went, well, now I'm going to start training with pros. And we've seen a huge gap in change because of that. At the U20 World Cup level, our most recent U20s were the first team to really have kids play 10 months year-round at the youth levels, avoiding high school soccer, as well as training with pros. And if they would have played the previous U20 teams, they would have shellacked them 3 or 4-0. Huge, huge gap.
Real quick, one player that's not on your list because he's not American, but Eric and I get excited about is Davies with Bayern Munich. And first of all, would he be 1 or 2 on your list if he was American? And I only put him in there because he got some training at MLS.
Yep.
It is North America. Yeah. We're dying to get these type of players, so we've adopted him. But would you put him 1 or 2, like behind Reyna or something, or maybe above him?
I would potentially put him above Gio Reyna. I'm really high in Gio's game because among all the 2002s in the world, when Gio is on his game, he's a top 5 player in that age group. I mean, he should be starting for Dortmund this year. And
he's going to play a lot, right, this year for Dortmund? Yeah.
He's killing it in preseason. He doesn't turn 18 until mid-November. So he's like, when people looked at Pulisic was, Gio's 2 years younger in that age group.
Right.
Wow.
Or 2 months younger from what Pulisic was. So he's doing everything even better. His first touch, his vision, his ability to interplay with teammates, it's better than Pulisic was. And now Christian Pulisic is the best player in Chelsea, which no one was expecting.
What do you think of Pulisic? Eric and I talk about him real quick about if he just stays injury-free. But the problem is he's just not. So we worry about him. You know, we're us Americans are paranoid, as you know. Like, we're always worried about him.
One thing I noticed was that his body wasn't really built for the pro level yet.
No.
I mean, he looked like a kid. One thing I noticed right away coming out of COVID was that he looked 10 or 15 pounds heavier. He looked like he put on some muscle. He also wasn't getting pushed around by a right back like a little kid in the Premier League games like he was at the start of the season. I think that made a huge difference in his game too, because he looked a lot more confident from it.
I look at him like a Michael Owen, though. I get worried. You know, Michael Owen wasn't the biggest guy, didn't have the biggest frame, so talented, but he was so injury prone. I worry Pulisic just has that body that's going to break down. Yeah. Eric and I want to see one full season, see what he can do, you know.
You have a lot of those too. So in the top 50 list I made, you're going to have 10 or 15 of those guys. Yeah, they could be great players, but they're going to tear an ACL. They're going to get injured. So, I mean, USA's best prospect it would have been the 2011 U17s was Mark Pelosi. He went to Liverpool.
Yeah, I remember.
He was close to breaking into that first team. Tears his ACL. Last year, he was cut from San Jose Earthquakes.
Wow.
Another player in his age group was Alfred Karoma. He made the U17 national team as a 12-year-old. Wow. Insane talent.
What about like a Brooks Lennon? You know, I thought he was going to be big, do something at Liverpool. Probably not going on the first team, but he was going to go play somewhere. Now, where's he? He went to Salt Lake, and I don't even know where he is anymore.
Yeah, the problem with a club like RSL is that you get those guys and they stagnate there. And when they should move to that next level, they're not getting sold. They're not getting exposure.
Yeah.
Which kind of hurts them too. Like Sebastian Salcedo left them for Pumas. He's killing it now.
Well, Eric, bring up our favorite coach for this guy, okay? I want his opinion.
What I was going to ask you is really, what do you feel currently about the state of the senior national team? And do you feel like Berhalter gives the young guys that, especially the ones playing abroad, enough opportunities? Because we look at these other countries and these other teams, and I know he's comfortable with MLS guys, but I feel like that can't be that 23 that he keeps rolling out can't be our best 23.
Yeah, so I was actually one of the very few people who was excited about seeing Greg become coach, and he's made some choices that I've been a little questionable on, especially roster choices, but the pool is in flux right now. You have a lot of guys who are 27 to 23 who just aren't very good. And then below them, you have a bunch of 23 to 18-year-olds who are really good. But they're still breaking into their club. You look at a kid like Ulianes. He's better than some of the wingers we have, like a Jordan Morris. Jordan Morris is a really good form. But can he sustain it long enough to keep these young guys coming out? Probably not. I think in 2 years from now, especially when we get to Qatar in 2022, this team's going to look completely different. Your Christian Roldans, they're not going to be in the team. Giassi Zardes, mate, just because the striker pool is that bad. But when you look at our midfield, we have a ton of guys coming up. Fullbacks, we have a ton of guys. Center backs are probably going to be looking pretty similar. But again, you look to 2026, you have guys like Chris Richards. You have Owen Odasawi, who broke in at Wolverhampton's first team. You have Brian Oko, who's up eligible for 4 countries, but looking in the USA. He should be breaking into Red Bull Salzburg as a 16-year-old this season. Wow. He's a left-footed center back who will hopefully replace John Brooks. So it's not that Greg Berhalter doesn't look into the young kids. It's just he wants them to break through. And he knows that it's going to happen eventually. So I think that he's more interested in putting in a style of play focusing on how these kids are going to look once we get them in. And then once these kids are old enough, bring them in, watch them run through. But Greg Berhalter also in 2019, he never had more than 5 or 6 starters healthy. Pulisic, like you guys said, always hurt.
Wes Adams.
Wes McKennie was hurt. Tyler Adams had the abductor injury, was out for like 6 months. Tim Weah was out the entire time. He hasn't played a game under Berhalter. That's a kid who was rushed back to fitness by a Champions League team. Like, you also have Serginho Dest, who played a whopping 1 game, maybe 2. You have someone like Kobe Hernandez-Foster, who should break into Wolfsburg pretty quick. That's a top-tier global prospect or left back. Center back, you have Chris Richards, who spoke with Greg Berhalter, has said, be ready, you're getting call-ups this year. That's someone who I think is good enough to start at right center back.
But Dave, don't you worry about Berhalter in that you've seen the system he wants to play. We're playing out of the back. Stefan, using Stefan, using his feet, playing out of the back when you don't have the technical players to do that. And so, okay, fine, you have the injuries to the people who can play these technical skills. But then you need to change things if you don't have the players. And that's where Eric and I are frustrated with him.
Yeah, the big thing I'm worried about is that if our young core doesn't break through, like he's pretty much predicting and expecting, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to see Altidore and Bradley anymore in 2 years. Like, I could see him bringing one of the older guys in 2 years, and I hope it's not Bradley.
I'm fine with Josie just because he's still a good forward. When people freaked out about Ayo Akinola's good tournament, Josie came in 1 game, made a play that Ayo couldn't do. Like, that's something, but Josie never stays healthy.
Right.
Like,
always injured. My real issue is, though, like, you can't break through unless you're getting the opportunities. And I understand wanting to have some veterans and some stability and things like that. But, I mean, I think for a 2 or 3 match stretch, and I know there were injuries and everything, but you had 70 to 80% MLS players.
No more Sebastian Lletget. No more of that.
And look, they're not bad players, but if we're going to compete with, teams in CONCACAF, fine. But if you're going up against Brazil or you're going up against France, we need people who are trying to push themselves as far as they can go. And I'd rather get the kids some experience.
I look at the team and it's just like, there's a lot of guys who I view as kind of placeholders. They're okay. They'll get us through CONCACAF. They're not going to make it that long in the team. Like, let's be honest. Christian Roldan is not going to be a USMNT player in 2022. Paul Arriola is not going to be there. Giassi Zardes, God, I hope he's not going to be there. Like, Aaron Long, he can defend well, but he can't play with his feet. If Greg really wants to commit to this system of possession style building out of the back, he has to bring in these guys who can. And he has to do it over the next year where the pressure isn't on. We don't have a competitive match until June 2021.
Wow.
You're looking into bringing Chris Richards in, Ulianas and Tim Weah in with no pressure situations. Bringing someone like a Brendan Aronson in. This is the time to do it. I think that break and how CONCACAF scheduled it out, that's going to be a huge change for us, and in a really positive way too, because it gives a lot of time for the pool to adjust.
Anyway, Berhalter can screw this up and we don't qualify. Any chance at all?
Yeah, there's a chance.
There's a chance, right?
Because if he goes and relies on these older guys, which there's going to be some familiar pieces, I think we'll qualify, but we're going to go into the World Cup and get smacked around.
Yeah.
I think this team is the only player who I think from that Cuba embarrassment who won't make it is Michael Bradley. And that's just because he's looking like he can't do it anymore.
His legs are gone. Yeah.
He's walking. Like, I love the things he's done for the team. Great leader. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
Like, you got to. Will Trapp hasn't played in the last 10 games. Great for Columbus in 2013 to 2015. Not a national team player anymore.
No, we've always said as a holding mid international, no.
Yeah.
Good MLS player.
Will Trapp would have if he left MLS at his peak. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He decided, I want to be the hometown captain. not working so well.
I feel the same way. I'm always picking on Jordan Morris because not because I don't think he's a good player, but because he had an opportunity to go and push himself and stayed with the comfort. And you can even go to Landon Donovan. It was so exciting to see him at Everton in these little loan spells doing so well, and then for them to offer to buy him and him to say, I want to stay and be comfortable. It's for us to ever compete in the world stage, we need guys that are like, I want to play at Real Madrid, or look at De La Fuente at Barcelona saying, I don't want to go on loan, I want to fight for a spot. Like those are the people that are going to get us there.
Yeah, I respected Jordan Morris's original decision, but it's the last 2 years where I've looked at it and I thought, why are you still staying in MLS? You're obviously above the level of play. Like, he carried Seattle the last half of the season when he was healthy. This dude gains nothing by staying here except collecting a paycheck.
Right.
And you have Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Urianas, and Tin Weah coming up. Jordan Morris isn't going to stay in the national team if he stays in MLS. Like, you have to go and test abroad.
Right. And that window's closing for him. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's why I look at the national team now. I'm not really worried about it because you have so many just bang average players who are finally going to get pushed out by young kids really making it.
I just hope they get the opportunities. That's my biggest concern, really, is that Berhalter gives them the opportunities and doesn't go with his comfort level of, I'm an MLS guy, I know these MLS guys, they respect me. I feel like that's a big issue with him, that
it is.
If you have these guys that are training at the top level all around the world, and you call them in, are they going to look at you the same way that they look at their club coach? And for him to call the MLS guys in, they're all happy to be there.
Yeah.
It's a comfort for everybody.
What I want to see is how he uses his number 6. Because if he wants Jackson Mule to come in, be that kind of pocket quarterback, essentially, that's great. But I'd rather see Tyler Adams play at the 6, move Gio Reyna into 10, put in Tim Weah out wide, who's a dangerous winger. We need guys like that who are – this is a team that we can build around for 26. And the guys Christian Pulisic's age and younger, they're going to be able to play in 2030. They're only going to be – Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie are going to be 31 at that World Cup. We have a chance to build a team that's going to be playing together for 8 more years, 10 more years at this rate. Yeah. I don't see why we wouldn't do that right now.
The sooner the better for me. I would really almost rather not qualify, but give all these guys a chance and build something to really compete in 26 than to, like you said, limp in and just get battered like when we were in Italy and it was. I also think that this year-long break, it gives us a special opportunity because there's no pressure to call these kids in. Call them in, let them show they're better than these older guys. And not just that, next summer we have 4 big events coming in. We have World Cup qualifiers, which is obviously going to be number 1. We have the U20 World Cup. You're going to have a lot of upcoming kids in that. At the end of the summer, there's the Olympics. That's still a huge event coming up. That's going to see a lot of more of those under 23s prove their place too. On top of that, for essentially what I think is going to be the castaways, you have the Gold Cup. A couple of guys where it's just like, okay, you're on the fringe, prove your place. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for guys to really show out and say, okay, Greg, take me serious. I'm a national team player.
Yeah, I mean, before we let you go, I wanted your comments on Stefan. Do you think he'll get some time at City as the backup, or is he just going to get loaned out again? What's your opinion?
I think neither. I don't think he's going to get loaned out. I think he's going to be the backup. But he's behind one of the best keepers in the world. Now, I mean, he's going to be turning 26 next season. So, obviously, we want him playing, but Stefan's biggest weakness is he's a shank playing out of the box. When you put the ball at his feet, it's pretty terrifying. And he's going to be the best offensive possession coach in the world. That's going to be great for him to learn for a year.
It seems like a weird signing for City. He's not great with his feet. He's not like Ederson. So it's a weird pickup.
They signed him before they brought Pep in, I think. And they just loaned him out because he didn't qualify for a work permit. Now they need somebody who's going to be a good, cheap backup that they don't have to spend money on. And, well, he's been doing well in the Bundesliga. So you may as well bring him in. If Ederson gets hurt, Steffen's not going to be great, but he's not going to lose the game. So
that could be good enough.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I really want to appreciate. I want to say thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Again, I want to hand out your Twitter handle. David Kerr, he's at DKERR0118 on Twitter. If you're looking for that list, check it out. And the video, it's really good stuff, man. I appreciate you. Hopefully we can talk again soon.
Yeah. Anytime you guys want to have me on, welcome to. Anyone else on Twitter who wants to come at me, willing to talk anything.
Dave, we'll have you on for a little Liverpool preview when the Premier League starts.
Oh yes, I can't wait.
We'll get rid of Eric, and just me and you will talk.
Yeah, I'll take the day off, man. I don't
the 100-point season's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
And the treble season's coming too.
Sounds good, man. Dave, good talking to you, man.
Yeah, good talking to you guys.
Take care.
All right, take care.
All right, man. I'm excited for the Champions League. I mean, I watched a few of the games. I couldn't watch them all. You know, I have a life. I'm like you. So and that was fun though. It was. I was happy to see some football. You know, some real football.
No. It was beautiful. And then you had Man U in the Europa League totally crap themselves.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Love to see that. And then today, right before we came on,
did Inter win?
Yeah, so you've got Inter and Sevilla in the final, which I think that could be an actual really entertaining match.
Inter's fun. You know, I like to see Lukaku. All right, man, that's our Champions League coverage. That was good, man. What do you got for us?
Hey, we got the Crew play Chicago at home on Thursday. Have you heard if there'll be fans in the stands or not?
I haven't heard, but there were fans in the stands with the Dallas-Nashville game. Let's go
ahead and get to that. I don't have a Crew Chicago preview. I'll watch it. I'm glad to have something back, but I'm not going anywhere near a damn stadium until they get this.
No. They would have told us if they're having fans back. I don't think they are. I mean, like I said, Nashville played Dallas. They had fans there, about like 3,000 to 4,000. I mean, what's the point? I don't know what's the point. You know.
Well, did you see what happened?
Yeah, I'll get to that. All
right. I'll leave that alone.
Real quick, do you want to cover a little quick MLS? Quick coverage. Portland beats Orlando.
Yep.
In the MLS's back cup. Did you watch it, Eric Neal?
I watched like the second half.
I watched it too. It's funny. I watched the second half as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it. It's fine. They had a trophy at the end.
The quality
Who gives a crap?
Was brutal. Someone did a great quote saying, I went through this whole damn thing for over a month and they didn't even have one confetti cannon. What the hell is this?
Liverpool spends millions on the championship celebration.
MLS was like, here's your trophy.
I think MLS was like, here's a Starbucks gift card and a Target card, and go away. Want to give this to you. It's kind of nice. The Crew, because now that this MLS back tournament is over, they're in first place in the East, 4 wins and a draw. That's 13 points out of 15. They're in first place. All right, that's something to get excited about.
Shield, love to see it.
And we're playing Chicago this week, like you said. You'll watch the game. That'll be fun to see some, empty stands at Crew Stadium. Yeah. Let's go over some miscellaneous stuff. Let's just keep going. Gio Reyna scores 2 in a friendly for Dortmund.
Yeah.
Anything? No. That's it's good. It was some scrub team. They win 11-2. That's ridiculous.
You should have seen, though, I watched the highlights of it, and they were just toying around with these guys. It really would be like if Dortmund played our men's team, our over 30 team. They were just passing it all around. These poor guys were running around like chickens with their head cut off. They were doing nutmegs and back.
But you know what? Reyna played, and he scored. This guy's going to be starting for Dortmund. He has to. Or
absolutely.
Majority of the games. He'll like 3 out of 4 games he'll start. That's what I see. Hey, Barca, they get rid of the coach. Who's coming in? They fire the coach. Setien is gone. Pochettino coming in? No. Who's coming in? Nobody's going to take this Barca job. Nobody.
No.
Yeah.
They got Koeman. Ronald Koeman apparently is in talks.
Is he like 90 years old? I don't know.
No, he's not 90 years old. He's been coaching the Dutch national teams while you haven't seen him in a while.
I feel like he's been around forever. Okay.
I mean, he's our age.
Wasn't he at Southampton at one point?
Yeah, Southampton, went to Everton, spent 150 million pounds, almost got him relegated, got the sack.
I just feel like he's – I mean, he's not old like Biden or something, but, you know, I feel like he's been around forever, dude. Didn't he coach Barcelona at one point? Or am I wrong? Didn't he coach there? I know he played there. I know Ronald Koeman played there.
I'm not sure if he was an assistant or not. But no, do you remember, he turned down the job last January. They wanted to bring him in last January, and I was listening to Counterattack earlier on the way home from work. And shout out Sirius XMFC 157. They were saying that maybe he didn't want the job back then because he could see the writing on the wall that the ship was going down, and they thought, let me just let this get to rock bottom before I take it, because at this point now, there's zero expectations around Barca. Everyone knows it's a complete gut job. You have to do a complete rebuild. And so that's the time when you want to come in because all of the pressure's off. Instead of being the guy that's trying to, you know, keep the Hindenburg from bursting into flames, you're the guy that's resurrecting it and making everything hunky-dory and everyone happy again. So they're thinking that the timing of it makes a lot more sense than it did before because everyone knew it was going to be bad. But they also said, is this the same level of a draw for a job that it always has been? I mean, in the past, if Barca's got an opening, people are begging to even get an interview. And now you can see a lot of people going, maybe not today.
No, it's a rebuild. It's a total rebuild. You've got De Jong. You've got a couple good players. Maybe you keep Messi. Like, they're in trouble. They have a good keeper. Look, I mean, there's players. There's some talent there. But Suarez, Griezmann was a bad signing. Suarez is done. He's MLS bound. Don't you think?
I'm not saying get rid of Messi or get rid of Suarez. No. But the thing is, if you are going to rebuild, like you don't have enough money to surround Messi with the players he needs to be successful and pay Messi. So you've got a choice. You try and beg him to stay and just be mediocre for a couple seasons till he retires, or you let him and those astronomical wages go, and you let Suarez and those astronomical wages go, and then you raid all of Europe's best talent and build a team that is going to be decent the next year and then really, really good for a lot of years after that. You got to be brave enough to do it because, you know, who wants to be the one that let Messi go? But this is maybe the time because if he's asking to go, you go, look, he asked, we can't make him stay. And then it relieves you of the responsibility. The president, who should have, like, you know, died on his sword after this whole debacle and just quit, has said that they're going to do a new vote for a new president in 2021. So that dude, Bartomeu, is not in any real big hurry to try and hold himself responsible or do anything big about it. So I don't know. I don't see things getting better before they get
People's Club, man. People's Court. Real quick, couple other tidbits. Chelsea are looking at John Stones and Lewis Dunk from Brighton as the replacements for center back. What the hell are they thinking? John Stones and Lewis Dunk? Those are the guys they're going to sign?
But look, I think that makes sense for Chelsea. Like Stones, I don't know about Dunk, but Stones is actually a good shout. He's a good quality regular center back for the Premier League. You just want someone stable back there. Now, it's not going to be like the Koulibaly signing or the guy that's going to completely transform you into that top level.
But is that condemning of, I know he's been injured, Stones, here and there, but is that condemning of Pep that, like, you have him on the books at City and you need center backs?
No, but he doesn't play how Pep wants to play.
I know. He doesn't fit that system, but it's better than Fernandinho, I think.
No, not
you don't think so?
Play out of the back.
Well, true.
Do you remember him in the World Cup?
But Fernandinho can't cover anybody.
Listen, I think it would be good for everyone involved, that move. But they also
Stone's better than what they have, yes, but not by a lot. Not by a lot.
They need him and another center back.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I haven't watched enough Brighton games to know about Lewis Dunk. So
again, solid, like, you know, English center back.
All right, Eric, it's time. Get off my lawn time. Did you see this? FC Dallas versus Nashville. I know you because I think you almost brought it
Yeah,
up.
I alluded to it.
Yeah, you alluded to it. Nice word. That's a big word for you. Alluded to.
Alluded.
So FC Dallas is playing Nashville. I think they've played them like 20 times in the last week. They're in Dallas at Toyota Park. And, lately, before games, you've seen it in the Premier League where people kneel down. Black Lives Matter. Here in the States, during the anthem, people are kneeling to show respect for the cause and all this. That's what they've been doing at MLS during MLS games. And so the Dallas fans booed their own team and Nashville during the national anthem because they were kneeling during the national anthem. Totally classless. Reggie Cannon, who plays for FC Dallas, the guy was hurting, man, over this. I mean, big time, I want to give you a quote. He said, "You can't even have support from your own fans in our own stadium. As a team, we try to give the best possible product on the field, and these last 6 months have been absolute hell for us. Absolute hell." The guy is hurting. One of his teammates literally went over to Reggie Cannon during the national anthem while they're getting booed and said, he's a white player. He says, "Man, I am sorry. I'm sorry." It was painful for Reggie Cannon. So FC Dallas fans, get off my lawn, man. That is disrespectful. Somebody threw a water bottle onto the field during this whole thing. You don't get that right. If you want to boo players for bad performances, things like that, that's fine. But booing that, I have no respect for. And the bottle throwing and the beer throwing, that's one thing. Just get out of the stadium. You're banned for life. I never liked that beer throwing onto the field.
No,
I don't know what you think about
I
that.
heard that interview with him in full, and you could hear like how upset he was in his voice.
He was in pain. He was in pain over this.
Listen, Texas don't deserve him. And look, I'm not hating on all of the fans because they said it was kind of a really small group out of the 2,500 people that were in the fans, but still, to me, that's when everybody else around them like starts chanting Black Lives Matter, does something to show their respect and drown out these idiots. Because you can't just sit by and let stupid people like this do this kind of stuff. You got to speak up. You got to stand up to it. So I would hope that at the next Dallas home game, they figure out a way to make it right. And most of the fans, the good fans who make up the majority of them, I hope they do something about it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think they'll have a response. They have to have a response,
You would hope so. My Gomo this week goes to Taylor Twellman. For some reason, he's been coming up on the show a lot lately. I don't know what it is.
Double T.
Maybe I secretly have a man crush on Taylor Twellman.
He's got good hair, man. He's got good hair.
Yeah, so I'm going to read a tweet. So this Nipun Chopra, PhD, came up with this quote that was from Micah Richards when he was talking about the Bayern match. And Micah Richards said, "Alphonso Davies, he's 19. 2 years ago, he was playing in, you don't even know where he was playing." So Taylor Twellman says, he actually exposed himself as not putting in the work. If a player plays in Antarctica, then you need to know it. You owe it to the viewer and your employer. Now, I would say, I get where Taylor's coming from.
Yeah.
He, being a guy that played in MLS, that might hurt your feelings a little bit.
A little bit.
But keep it to yourself. Richards is talking about the Champions League. Not the CONCACAF Champions League, the real actual Champions League, the UEFA Champions League. Do you expect him to follow every third-rate league in the world? I mean, looking for players? I guarantee you, if the guy came from the Brazil league, that he wouldn't be like, oh, he was at Santos, and of course everybody knows that. I mean, it's MLS. This guy watches European football, so he's following players that are coming up and being developed around that place. I don't think it was even meant to be some big insult. So I tweeted out to him. I said, look, pointing out that European-based pundits don't respect MLS isn't going to get them to respect MLS. Improving the product to the point that it gets closer to the top 5 European leagues is the only way. The majority of people watching on the CBS app all knew where he played. Everybody that was watching, no one was like, oh, wait, where did he come from? We all knew he came from MLS, and we're proud of it. And that's cool. It's not a big deal. So, listen, for crying about it, because you got slighted by Micah Richards, listen, they'll respect us when we improve. Don't be oversensitive. Taylor Twellman, get off my lawn.
right, Eric. It's Ask Me Anything time, and I'm going to ask you something.
All right.
You brought it up earlier that Manchester United lost to Sevilla 2-1.
Yeah.
First of all, I was going to ask you, do you give a shit about the Europa League? I think you already answered that last week. You said you don't.
I don't.
You also said Inter Milan won against, I think, Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yep.
So now it's Inter Milan versus Manchester United. That's not the question. Who gives a shit? Maybe it's going to be a good final. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know, because Lukaku's playing.
Lukaku.
Since 2005, 2006, two questions. How many times has Sevilla made it to the final of the Europa League?
I'm
going to shock you.
With this so far now, before, okay, they just made
2005, 2006, they won the Europa League. Since then, how many times have they appeared? Have they been in the final, and how many times have they won?
Okay, I've got 5 finals.
Yeah.
And won 3.
Wow, not bad. They've been in 6.
Oh.
And they've won, so this is the 6 coming up. They've won 5.
Oh.
5 Europa Leagues.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think they had like 3 in a row at one point. Yeah.
They own this tournament. They have to be a lock to win this thing. I mean,
so
everyone is saying they're built for that tournament. Like
why do they love this tournament?
I don't know. But it gets you in the Champions League, and you just go get destroyed. But the good news is, when you get destroyed in the Champions League, after getting those fat paychecks,
you go back to the Europa League.
You go back to Europa League where you're comfortable.
So they just keep going back and forth. Hey!
They're the ping pong squad.
Do you give them any credit for this? To me, winning this many times in this kind of tournament, where you are playing some decent teams, it's a pretty big accomplishment. 5. If you win it like once or twice, whatever. But
let me flip this on you.
Yeah.
What do you think is a bigger achievement, if Sevilla wins the Europa League or Arsenal winning the FA
Cup? Europa League.
I agree. I have to agree.
Look, the travel is tough. You're playing those Thursday games. You're going to like Shakhtar Donetsk. Like you're going to Russia. You're going all over the place. And you're playing some big
stadium where they were in the Champions League.
I think you're playing on artificial turf in Russia sometimes.
There was a train that actually went through the stadium in front of the stands. Like the tracks were on the side, like the opposite side of the field where the players are. And so you're like playing this, like the train's going through there. I mean, it was nuts. Yeah, Europa League.
I think it's a pretty big I was going to ask you, is it a bigger deal to make it into the let's say quarters of the Champions League or winning? Like if you get to the semis, that's a bigger deal than winning the Europa League, I would assume, right? So nobody remembers the semis though of the Champions League, do they?
No.
You got in. You couldn't tell me last year what 4 teams got in, probably.
I will remember it last year. Only
Spurs, Liverpool.
Yeah. Those were insane matches. To have
a couple years ago, you won't remember. I mean,
I don't know. No, that Ajax Spurs match was just a complete, unbelievable. And then the Liverpool. I mean, I hate to admit it, but that was. You've never seen anything like that. Yeah. So
all right. Well,
I don't know.
Maybe you'll make it. Maybe here's a scenario for you. Newcastle gets this tons of money. You're not going to get in the Champions League. You make it into Europa League, and you win the thing. Are you psyched?
Oh yeah. You kidding me?
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, might ask you anything. This goes kind of harkens back to my Kylian Mbappe Farmer League tweet. Now,
right.
Everyone always has joked about France being a farmers league and that there's always one team and that they never do anything in the Champions League. And this was kind of the beat down to put all that to rest. Like we finally exercised our demons. We've made it to the semi.
Yeah.
We're on track now. Who's the real Farmers League? And if you look, you've got the final of the Europa League and the semis of the Champions League, and not one English team in it. So with looking at a historically bad Premier League this season compared to most seasons, and I would say top to bottom in that. Maybe not the very top, but we'll say 2 through 20.
Why do I feel like you're setting me up for a Liverpool bashing?
No. I won't even say that word. I'm not going to say that word. So, a historically bad 2 through 20 in the Premier League. Where do they rank in the top 5 European leagues? Let's go with. I want to hear who you think the top 5 European leagues are and where England falls in that.
For this year, though. Only for this year.
No, just this year. And we don't.
Germany is one. Germany is one. Like
Yeah,
you got Bayern Munich, Leipzig were good, Dortmund were good. You know, there was actually a race there. I know Munich wins it every year, so I would say, look, I think Germany is one. I can't go with Spain 2, and I can't go Premier League 2. I don't. It's a tough one. I know this sounds wacky, but I might put Italy second.
Really?
Yeah, I know Juventus won it again, but I feel like, you know,
It was a lot more competitive.
It was more competitive, but was that good? I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, you've got in the quarters Atalanta,
yeah,
right? Juve, and in the.
I mean, Napoli went far. I mean, they kind of faded at the end of the year. So I'm going with Italy.
Inter's in the final of the Europa League. So.
And then I hate to say this is going to sound crazy. Nah, you got to put England ahead of France no matter what. I don't care, even in a down year. I don't care. You can't put France in front of England. So I actually am going to go Germany, Italy, England, Spain, France.
All right. So France,
even though the 2 teams made it into the Champions League, this is not a great PSG team. And this Lyon team.
Are you taking that away, the Farmers League, if they win the Champions League? Or is it just they're the only real team in the Farmers League?
Look, Porto with Mourinho won the Champions League. They were not – the Portuguese league wasn't that year in the top 5. So, no, it changes nothing for me. If Lyon or PSG wins this thing, I don't change. Maybe I put them ahead of maybe the Spanish league, maybe. I don't know. But, no, I don't think so. Nah. They stay 5. They stay 5. Belland Award time, Eric. And this is going to make you very sad, this one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to make you sad because you and I loved when this coach named Ted Lasso came onto the scene, correct?
Yeah.
He was played by Jason Sudeikis, right? Funny guy from Saturday Night Live. But NBC, when they started their Premier League coverage a few years ago, had these promos with this coach named Ted Lasso. And if you haven't seen him, he's like a total American football coach, like middle America, Midwestern, knows everything about American football.
Mustache.
Right, he's got a bad, like, porno mustache, cop mustache. And he goes over to England, and he's going to go over and work with Tottenham Ham.
Yep.
He says everything wrong. He has a press conference where he's like, he says, hey, man, there's 4 quarters in a game. You know, he's got kind of a Southern accent kind of, and the journalist has to say, like, no, there's 2 halves. How many countries, you know, they talk about Wales.
In this country? Yeah, how many countries are in this country?
Yeah, exactly. So real funny stuff. Like Eric and I, there were 2 episodes. It was hilarious. Tim Howard was in it. Harry Kane joked around with him. It was just really, really funny stuff. Get this one. Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis now has a series, a TV show on Apple TV. I thought it was going to be epic. You told me about it. You said it was a movie, but it's not. It's a series. I'm excited. I'm watching this thing. It's the worst piece of shit I have ever seen. They ruined it. Ted Lasso and Jason Sudeikis, and I say Jason Sudeikis is the Belland because it was his idea. He's the executive producer on it. He wrote it. I don't know if he directed it or whatever. I watched 2 episodes. All the jokes that we know, they did in the first episode again. So if you know this guy, you're like, it was the same thing. And it's so dumb. Basically, it's this owner who buys this team called Richmond FC or something like that. And they're in the Premier League. And she's pissed off at her husband who owns the team because he cheated on her. And so basically she's like, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to ruin this team. So I'll hire some joke of a coach from America named Ted Lasso. What a stupid premise. I was pissed off.
Do you remember the baseball movie with Charlie Sheen?
Yes.
Major League. They stole that from Major League. Remember, she was trying to ruin the team.
They ripped it off. It's the soccer version.
Terrible.
So it's really poor. I didn't laugh once. I think I chuckled maybe once. That was it. So Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, you are my Belland Award winner.
That's so disappointing, man. Because it was so funny at the time. It was right when NBC had taken over the Premier League rights, and we were so worried that they were going to be a shambles because Fox had it forever, and we were like, oh my God, NBC, they don't know.
But they got it. They got the funny.
Yeah, we were poking fun at ourselves as Americans, as American supporters. Oh, that's so disappointing.
But it's funny because Ted Lasso was always talking about the words in England, how they're different from America. They're very funny. They're not funny in this series. It is not funny. Oh,
you ruined it. All right, I'm going to pretend it never happened.
Okay.
This week's Bell Award winner for me is Newcastle supporter and general all-around wanker, Steve Wraith. Now, he's been a Bellend before. He's got a podcast and goes around tweeting shite and pretending he knows things. This idiot posted a tweet showing the police under a bridge investigating a suicide. The picture even showed the spot where the person had landed, and he put on like the monkey covering his eyes emoji, which I can only assume was an attempt to lighten the mood. These are hard times that we're living in right now, and someone has just lost a family member. I mean, this is no place to be making any sort of jokes or any light of any of this kind of stuff. People begged him to take it down, the people who like him even that are kind of fans of his, and we're like, hey man, look, this isn't it. Just delete, it's not too late. You could just get rid of it. Just pretend this never happened. He didn't even care. He just left it up and was like, whatever. So for trying to be controversial for a few likes, Steve Wraith, you are my Bellend Award winner.
You fucking Bellend.
All right, it's time for this week's Twitter shout-outs. As always, a big thank you to Andrew Wells. He's at Wellsy95NUFC. Thanks again to our guest, David Kerr. He's at DKERR0118. Also, a giant thanks to at RealUSMNT. This account posts everything you need to know about the U.S. men's national team. They've been retweeting us all week, every week. We really appreciate it. And a big thank you to Marcus O'Malley. He's at Chasing the Cup for tweeting us out. Shoot the Defense podcast, they're at Shoot the Defense. The Ball Chat podcast, they're at Ball Chat 1. And the Bryant and Me podcast, Even Thomas, they're at Bryant and Me. Thanks for all the retweets when we're promoting the pod each week. We do really appreciate it. So I've got a few here that I kind of like this week. Zach, he's at MUFC Zach. PSG need a goal and they bring in fucking Choupo-Moting on. LOL, ha 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 ha. Who scores the goal? Of course. Choupo-Moting, guaranteed to happen every time. You come out with a dumb tweet and you curse yourself. Wellesley retweeted a tweet. It says, you got to be joking with a million laughing emojis. The extra funny sideways laughing emoji, so that's like you're really laughing hard. Someone posted about the Daily Mail. It said, revealed, England penalty hero Jordan Pickford's father changed the family name from Pigford because he was called Piggy at school. Dinosaur arms. His family had to change their name from Pigford to Pickford. Oh, God. You can't write this stuff. That's why, look, when you look up sad Macklin bastard in the dictionary, that's like the third entry when they're going for definitions. Pablo Maurer, he's at MLSist, said Dallas nearly back to their normal pre-pandemic attendance figures. You love to see it because they had 2,500 people in the stands. That was a blast. Georgie Bingham, who is this pundit on Talk Sport, had gone on and talked a bunch of crap about Newcastle fans and said all these things about the takeover and was just giving us all this and that hard time about it and like, oh, whatever. She posted, all good things come to an end. On Monday morning, I was informed by @TalkSport that I won't be having my contract renewed for next season. I would like to make it clear that this was not my decision. I was told. The beautiful thing is all the Newcastle supporters just piled on. And we're like, I love to see it. Oh, too bad for you. Oh, karma. So that right there was pure genius. The last one I got is War Flags. They're at War Flags. I don't even remember that massive TIFO we had about a year ago that took up the whole stand. Said we are the mags on it and everything. They've stopped going to matches until Ashley's gone in protest. But they made this huge banner that says the most competitive league in the world. It looks like the Last Supper, but it's got Richard Keith's Richard Masters, the head of the Premier League, at the table with all the top 6 teams, basically like mugging off the rest of the league.
Really?
To put this huge banner up at St. James Park. So big shout out to War Flags. That's it, man. That's all I got this week. So thanks to our guest. Thanks for Wellesley. And we did it again. You're going to need a cup of coffee for this episode. We should probably put that in the beginning.
Yeah. We should put a disclaimer, like this might put you to sleep. It might take you a whole day to listen to and watch. But hey, man, I appreciate you. This was fun. We love talking football. There's no better place I'd rather be. Take care of yourself, brother.
You too. See you next week.
See ya.
That's our show for this week. Please check us out on Twitter at @rash_podcast, on Facebook at 2 Rash Challenges, or email us at 2rashchallenges@gmail.com. Also check out our website, 2rashchallenges.com, where you can find articles, videos, and photos. And if you like the show, tell a friend, and make sure you go to iTunes and give us a review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, for Eric, our producer and engineer Ezra Jack Lewis, our main man on the streets Andrew Wells, and myself, we say cheers.